Rain fell heavily over the neon-lit streets of Neo-Tokara, casting reflections that shimmered like liquid glass. The city buzzed with flying vehicles, neon signs, and the constant hum of machines inside a small taxi hovering just above the wet road. The driver squinted at his passenger. She was unlike any human he had ever seen, her skin a soft shade of blue, glowing patterns running like veins across her arms and neck. Her eyes were wide, shining with fear and confusion, and she clutched a small, strange-looking device tightly to her chest. The taxi's meter flashed brightly, demanding payment. The driver leaned back in his seat, arms crossed, his voice gruff. "Fare," he said, showing the holographic meter. Hovering between them, the girl fidgeted with her bag, empty pockets revealing she had no credits to pay. Her hands shook, her heart raced. I don't have enough," she whispered, barely audible over the rain. The driver frowned, tapping his fingers impatiently, his eyes scanning the empty streets outside. He had no time for passengers who couldn't pay, especially tonight. The neon lights flickered, reflecting off her glowing skin, making her look almost like a fragile spirit lost in the storm. She swallowed, trying to steady her voice, and then, slowly, she opened her bag, revealing the small device, pulsing with a soft, otherworldly light. I can offer this instead," she said, holding it out carefully, almost reverently. The taxi driver raised an eyebrow, leaning forward, curiosity mixing with his suspicion. He had seen strange things before, but never something like this. Something that seemed alive. The device hummed softly, and the glowing patterns on the girl's skin brightened in response. It was unlike any tech he had encountered in the city, and even the taxi's AI sensors were blinking wildly. Confused by its energy signature, the driver hesitated, weighing his options. He could refuse and leave her in the rain, but something in her eyes stopped him, a mixture of fear, hope, and urgency. She looked at him pleadingly. "Please, I just need to go home." Her voice trembled, and he noticed how small she looked, shivering under the rain. He leaned back, studying the device, his mind racing. The light it gave off was mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, pulsing as if it had a heartbeat. He knew instantly that this was worth more than a simple taxi fare, maybe even more than he could imagine. Outside, the rain fell harder, drumming against the taxi's metal frame. The girl's glowing patterns flickered in rhythm. With the device, like she was communicating silently with it, the taxi's engine hummed quietly, waiting for a decision. Finally, he reached forward, his hand hovering over the device, careful not to touch it too roughly. "Where do you need to go?" he asked, his tone softer than before, curiosity replacing his earlier irritation. "The..." girl exhaled in relief, holding the device close. "Sector 9, near the river district," she said, her voice still trembling. The taxi lifted off the wet road, gliding above the puddles, leaving streaks of neon reflections behind. The rain splashed against the windshield, but inside, a strange calm settled over them, broken only by the soft hum of the device. As they moved through the city, the driver glanced at her again, noticing the fear in her eyes. He could sense that something dangerous was following her, something beyond the usual city troubles. Her hands tightened around the device, patterns glowing brighter as if warning him silently. He felt a shiver run down his spine, realizing the simple fare had suddenly become a responsibility far greater than he expected. The streets below twisted and turned, filled with other vehicles, but the taxi moved smoothly, guided by instinct and experience. The girl's eyes scanned the passing city, neon lights reflecting off her blue skin. I hope we're not followed," she whispered, almost to herself. The driver didn't answer, but he checked the rear sensors, noticing faint energy traces, flickering like shadows. They were close, he realized, and whoever or whatever it was could sense the device too. The girl looked at him, panic rising. What do they want from it?" He shook his head slightly, unsure. "I don't know, but we'll find out if they try anything." The taxi swerved around a narrow corner, narrowly avoiding a hovering cargo drone. The girl gripped her seat, patterns on her arms brightening, In response, her device pulsed faster, almost like it was alive, resonating with her emotions. The driver felt the energy, strange and powerful, and realized this was no ordinary fare, no ordinary night. Somewhere deep in the city, unseen eyes tracked them, calculating their moves. The girl's small voice broke the silence. "Please, just get me there safely." The driver nodded, his jaw tight, feeling the weight of a responsibility he never asked for. The taxi glided into the neon night, rain pouring, city alive, and a sense of adventure, dangerous and unknown, settled. Over them, neither knew what lay ahead, but both understood that tonight the unexpected fare had changed everything. The taxi glided over the rain-slicked streets of Neo Tokhara, neon lights reflecting on the wet metal surfaces like shards of glass. Inside, the girl clutched her strange device, glowing patterns flickering nervously across her arms. She had hoped the device would stay hidden, but she felt it pulse as if it were alive, warning her of danger. The taxi driver's hands gripped the controls tightly, his eyes scanning the skies. "Something is following us," he muttered, voice low, eyes narrowing. The girl looked out the window, trying to see through the heavy rain and glowing signs. I think they know what I have," she whispered, voice trembling. The driver's brow furrowed. "Who? What are they?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "I don't know, but they are fast, smarter than any hunters I've seen." Outside, shadows moved in the alleys, sleek black vehicles weaving between skyscrapers. Drones flashed like eyes, scanning the streets for the device's energy signature. The taxi swerved, narrowly avoiding a falling advertisement drone, sparks scattering in the rain. The girl's glowing patterns pulsed faster, almost like her heartbeat. She pressed a hand to the device, whispering, "Please, help us." The driver glanced at her, astonished. "It's responding to you?" She nodded, fear and hope mixing in her blue eyes. The taxi ducked under a broken highway overpass, hiding from the scanners briefly, but the shadows above did not hesitate, drones dropping from the sky, tracking them with pinpoint accuracy. The girl's voice rose in panic. "They are too close." The driver leaned forward, pushing the taxi's thrusters to their limit. The neon city blurred past them as the chase intensified. Every corner they turned revealed more dangers: flying cargo, hovering billboards, other taxis. But the pursuing agents moved faster, their sleek vehicles cutting through the rain with precision. The girl gripped the device tightly, glowing brighter with each surge of fear. I can't keep running like this forever," she admitted, voice trembling. The driver nodded. "Then we need a plan, and fast." He spotted a narrow street leading into the old industrial district, abandoned for years. "Take this turn," he instructed, steering sharply. The agents followed blindly, underestimating the alleyways. The girl's device began to hum louder, almost like it recognized the danger and prepared to act. "Wait, I think I can use it," she said, eyes narrowing, focus replacing fear. The driver glanced at her. "Do what?" She hesitated, then pressed the device against the dashboard, energy flaring out. The taxi was surrounded by a shimmering dome of light, protective and pulsing with power. The agent's drones hit the barrier and ricocheted, sparks flying, confused by the energy. The girl breathed heavily, her patterns glowing in intricate waves. "It's working, but I don't know how long it will hold," she said, sweat running down her forehead. The driver nodded, understanding the stakes. "Then we move fast, before they figure it out." They surged forward, racing through the abandoned district, old machinery and rusted metal flashing by. The city's neon lights reflected in puddles, distorted and dancing like ghosts. The girl's device hummed, pulsing with energy, guiding them through shortcuts she could not have known. The agents adapted quickly, splitting into groups, scanning multiple paths. The driver pushed the taxi into a narrow canal, the vehicle gliding over the water like a hovercraft. The girl's patterns flared, light spilling over the walls of the canal, illuminating the night. The pursuing agents paused, unsure of how to follow without losing their scanners. The driver grinned, feeling a surge of human ingenuity. We're not out yet, but we're ahead for now. The girl nodded, relief mixing with fear. They won't give up, will they? He shook his head. No, but neither will we. Suddenly, a drone broke through the canopy of light, narrowly missing the taxi, sparks scattering. The girl gasped, clutching the device tightly. They are adapting, faster than before. The driver's eyes narrowed, scanning the skies. Then we need to test what you can really do. The girl hesitated. I don't know if I can control it fully. He reached out, reassuring. Then we do it together, human and alien. She nodded, courage rising despite the fear, patterns on her skin glowing brighter than ever. The taxi surged forward, gliding. Through the industrial maze, the hum of the device filling the air. Every turn, every movement seemed guided by something greater than them. The rain fell harder, drumming against the taxi, the neon reflections shimmering like a warning. The pursuing agents had no idea that their prey was not helpless. The girl's energy surged, creating pulses that disrupted, the drones scattering them like leaves in a storm. The driver leaned back, smiling. Looks like your fare just became our weapon. She laughed nervously, hope and fear mixing in her small frame. The taxi shot through the final turn, emerging into a wider street, momentarily losing the agents. The girl exhaled, patterns dimming slightly. We did it. For now. The driver glanced at her, determination in his eyes. This is only the beginning, kid. The real chase is yet to come. She looked out at the city, neon lights reflecting in her glowing eyes. I hope we survive it. The driver nodded, engines humming, lights flashing, ready for whatever came next. Together, human and alien, they raced into the unknown, chased by shadows, guided by courage. The taxi slid silently into the wider streets of Neo-Tokara, neon reflections stretching across puddles like liquid fire. The girl pressed the strange device tightly against her chest, its glow calming her shaking hands. She could feel its energy pulsing in response to the danger they had just escaped. But she knew the agents would not give up. Not until they had it in their possession. The driver glanced at her, noting how fragile she looked, yet how determined. Her glowing eyes were, "Do you know what this thing really is?" he asked, voice low, cautious. The girl shook her head, patterns flickering nervously across her skin. I don't fully understand it," she admitted. "It's from my world, my home, but I was told never to use it outside." The driver frowned. "And yet it just saved us." She nodded, fear mixing with relief. "I had no choice. They were right behind us." Outside, the rain had eased slightly, leaving the streets wet and shimmering. But the shadows of drones lingered, hovering at the edges of their vision. The city seemed alive, watching them, waiting for the next move. The girl's device pulsed again, a soft hum like a heartbeat, almost communicating with her. "I can feel it," she whispered. "It's alive, or something close to it." The driver studied the device, realizing it was far beyond human technology. It seemed to think, to react, to protect, and it had chosen them as its guardians. The taxi glided past old warehouses and abandoned buildings, echoes of a forgotten industrial age. She leaned forward, whispering, "We need to reach the safe house. It's not far, but they'll try to block us." The driver nodded, adjusting the controls. "Then we don't waste any time." They turned into a narrow alley, barely wide enough for the taxi, neon signs flickering above. The device pulsed brighter as if sensing the path, guiding them safely through the maze. The driver couldn't help but marvel at the girl's instincts, as if she were connected to the city itself. But the moment of calm was short-lived. Above them, a shadow moved faster than thought, a sleek black vehicle descending. The agents had not only followed, they had predicted the shortcut, anticipating their every turn. The girl gasped, clutching the device. "They are faster than I thought." The driver leaned forward, adrenaline surging. Then we'll force them to make mistakes. The device responded instantly, a bright pulse radiating outward, pushing back the pursuing vehicle. Sparks flew as the agents, sensors overloaded, giving the taxi a brief window. The girl's patterns flashed wildly, almost as if she were communicating with the device through her fear. "I didn't know it could do that," she admitted, voice shaking. The driver glanced. At her, "Neither did I. But it works in our favor." The streets twisted ahead, abandoned factories providing a labyrinth of opportunity. The taxi darted between massive containers, old cranes looming overhead like silent giants. The pursuing agents struggled to keep up, their vehicles scraping and sparking against the industrial obstacles. The girl exhaled sharply, patterns dimming slightly. "It's tiring me. I don't know how much longer I can control it." The driver understood the stakes. "Then we need to reach the safe house now before it burns you out completely." She nodded, gripping the device tighter, glowing brighter despite the strain. The safe house was hidden in the forgotten lower districts, a place only the city's oldest maps remembered. As they approached, the taxi slowed, entering a narrow passageway covered in holographic graffiti. The agents hovered above, scanning, desperately, but the device pulsed again, cloaking them in light. The girl's eyes widened, realization dawning. "It's protecting us. I think it knows where to go." The driver smiled slightly, respect and awe in his gaze. "Then we follow its lead." They navigated twisting alleyways, the city almost rearranging itself to guide them. Finally, they reached an unmarked door beneath a crumbling building, nearly invisible to the naked eye. The girl pressed a hand to the door, device glowing, and the lock disengaged with a soft click. Inside, dim light revealed a small, safe space, hidden from scanners and prying eyes. She collapsed onto the floor, exhausted, glowing patterns dimming as the device hummed softly. The driver leaned against the wall, watching her. "You're stronger than you think." She shook her head, exhausted and fearful. "I just hope it's enough. They'll be back." Outside, the rain had stopped completely, leaving the city silent and tense. The hum of distant engines reminded them that danger was never far. The girl examined the device, whispering to it, "We need answers." "What? Are you really?" The device pulsed faintly, almost like it was listening, considering, waiting for the right moment. The driver crouched nearby, scanning the area. "Whatever it is, it chose you for a reason." She nodded, patterns flickering, nervously. "Then I need to understand it, before they find us again." The safehouse door closed behind them with a soft metallic thud, sealing them off from immediate danger. But the girl knew that the agents would not give up. They would come back, faster and smarter, to take what she carried, and she understood the weight of the responsibility now resting in her hands. She looked at the driver, determination in her glowing eyes. "We survive, together." He nodded, engines humming faintly outside. Together. The city outside remained alive, glowing and hungry, and somewhere in the neon shadows, enemies waited, counting every heartbeat. The device pulsed once more, softly, as if promising protection and guidance. The girl held it close, patterns glowing gently, feeling its power and knowing this was only the beginning. The safe house was silent, the hum of the city outside barely audible through thick, reinforced walls. The girl sat on the cold metal floor, the device cradled in her hands, its glow pulsing softly like it was alive. Her glowing patterns flickered in irregular waves, a silent signal of exhaustion and tension. The driver leaned against the wall, eyes scanning every shadow, his instincts screaming that danger was never far. "You need rest," he said quietly, "but I know you won't let yourself relax." She shook her head, patterns dimming slightly. "I can't, not yet." The device pulsed again, almost responding to her fear, guiding her focus towards something she couldn't yet name. "I can feel it, telling me there's more to this," she whispered, voice trembling. Outside, the city lights, reflected in puddles on broken streets, the neon signs flickering like distant eyes. The agents were still out there plotting, calculating, hunting for their prey. And she knew they had allies inside the city, ones who would betray anyone for the right price. The driver frowned. Then we need to be careful. More careful than before. She nodded, eyes narrowing, determination replacing fear, patterns flickering brighter. Suddenly, the device flared, a sharp pulse that lit the entire room, startling them both. Her hands shook, gripping it tightly. Something's coming. Inside. The driver's eyes widened. Inside? But we're supposed to be safe here. A low mechanical hum filled the air, growing louder, reverberating through the walls. The girl's patterns twisted, almost like warning signals. Bright and frantic. From the shadows of the safe house, a figure emerged, sleek and silent. It was humanoid but not human, its eyes glowing faintly, scanning the room with precision. The girl gasped, holding the device tighter. Who? What are you? The figure tilted its head, voice metallic and cold. I am an observer, sent to retrieve what belongs to the Empire. The driver stepped in front of the girl, shielding her, fists clenched, ready to fight. The observer raised its hands, not in attack, but in scanning. Do not resist. The device must be returned. The girl shook her head, patterns pulsing violently. It doesn't belong to you. It chose me. The observer paused, almost confused. Chose? It does not choose. It is property of the Empire. The girl's voice rose, trembling with anger and fear. Then it made a mistake. Because I will protect it. The driver stepped closer, voice firm. Nobody takes it while we're here. The observer's sensors scanned the room, the device, and the girl, calculating probabilities at lightning speed. Outside, faint sirens echoed, distant but approaching human law enforcement or more agents. It was impossible to tell. The girl whispered, It's telling me. I can do more. I can stop it. Them. Her hands glowed, energy flaring from the device, creating a protective barrier around the room. The observer tried to push forward, but the barrier held, vibrating with power, sparks dancing on the floor. The driver watched in awe. It's stronger than anything I've seen. The girl's patterns twisted, bright lines running up her arms, over her shoulders, into her glowing eyes. I don't know how, but I can keep it safe. She whispered, almost to herself. The observer's voice became strained, metallic tone shaking slightly. Impossible. Containment. Beyond protocol. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the safe house, a weak wall giving way. Through it, more figures emerged. Humanoid but with subtle alien features, weapons drawn, scanning. The girl's eyes widened, energy flaring brighter, the device pulsing violently in her hands. I can't let them take it, she said, voice steady despite fear. The driver drew his weapon, covering her, moving with human precision and courage. The observer raised its hands again, attempting to override the barrier. It is futile. Give it to us. The girl's patterns glowed intensely, energy pulsing outward, the intruders recoiling as if struck by invisible force. The driver glanced at her, astonished. You're controlling it. Really controlling it. She nodded, sweat dripping down her forehead. I have to. It's the only way to survive. The observer's sensors whirred, calculating. Adaptation required. Recalibration. Containment fails. The intruders tried again, advancing cautiously. But each step was met with energy bursts from the device, protective and unpredictable. The girl whispered to the device, Guide me. Protect me. Protect us. The energy pulsed, forming a semi-visible dome around them, almost living, almost sentient, reacting to threats instinctively. The intruders froze, unsure how to proceed, the observer scanning desperately. It is sentient. Anomalous. The girl exhaled sharply, patterns dimming slightly, energy stabilizing. I think I can hold it. The driver nodded. Then we keep fighting together. The observer backed away slightly, realizing brute force would not work. You may have control, temporarily, but the Empire will not relent. The girl's glowing eyes met the driver's, determination shining through exhaustion. Then we prepare and wait for them. The safe house, once quiet and silent, now hummed with energy, glowing patterns and tension. Outside, the city slept, unaware of the power contained within a small, hidden room. But the girl knew this was only the beginning, the first test of strength and courage against an enemy that would never stop, and she understood for the first time that her destiny was tied to the device, to the city, and to the humans who would stand with her. The safe house was quiet, for only a moment, the hum of the device fading slightly. The girl's patterns glowed faintly, but her exhaustion was visible in the tremble of her hands. The driver scanned the walls and windows, eyes alert, every shadow a potential threat. They'll regroup, he said quietly. They won't give up, just because we survived this encounter. She nodded, holding the device tightly. I know, but I'm not letting them take it. The device pulsed softly, as if agreeing with her, a warmth radiating into her hands. Outside, the city streets were alive with neon light, silent watchers and unseen dangers, the girl whispered. We need a plan. I can't fight them forever like this. The driver crouched beside her, voice low. Then we trick them. We make them think we're weak. Then we strike. She tilted her head, glowing patterns flickering. I can do that. But we need a way out, a path they won't predict. The driver smiled faintly. Leave that to me. Humans are unpredictable too. They moved toward a back room, a small storage area, filled with crates and old equipment. The girl pressed the device against her chest, feeling its power resonate, almost whispering instructions. I can sense a route, she said, voice trembling slightly. A hidden path. It's old, forgotten, but it leads outside the city. The driver's eyes widened. Then that's our way. They quickly gathered supplies, weapons, and a few devices left behind by previous occupants. The observer outside had not returned, yet. But they knew it was only a matter of time. The girl glanced at the device, patterns glowing brighter. It knows we plan to escape. I can feel it preparing. The driver nodded. Then we synchronize. Follow its guidance. They moved carefully, avoiding the reinforced main entrances, slipping through hidden passages that twisted and turned. The city seemed different. From inside these forgotten paths, dark, narrow, and silent, every step was tense, every shadow potentially hiding a pursuer. The girl whispered, I can feel them approaching, faster now. The driver held up a hand, signaling silence, listening to the faint hum of the drones outside. The device pulsed stronger, vibrating slightly, like a heartbeat. The girl realized it was warning her, guiding them around the safest corners. They reached a section of the old sewers, dim light filtering through cracks in the walls. I think this is it, the girl said softly, patterns dimming slightly, as if the device knew they were nearly safe. The driver checked the path. It's risky, but it's our best chance. They moved quickly, but the sound of engines echoed above, drones scanning every entrance. The girl's glowing patterns flared suddenly, energy shooting out in waves. The walls vibrated as if the device was shielding them, pushing back the sensors. The driver covered her, moving steadily through the twisting tunnels. Keep it steady. You're doing great. She nodded, hands shaking slightly. I can feel it. The device is guiding me, protecting me. A sudden noise made them freeze, a low hum of power, almost unnatural. The observer had returned, along with reinforcements, their sensors scanning desperately. The girl whispered, They can't find us here. Not yet. The driver smiled faintly. Then we move fast. They navigated the winding tunnels, the device pulsing with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. Finally, a faint light appeared ahead, an exit covered by a metal grate and debris. This is it, she whispered, energy flaring slightly. We can make it through. The driver pushed the debris aside, creating a narrow opening. Then we go. The girl squeezed the device. Patterns glowing brighter, almost painfully intense, she whispered, "It's giving me strength. I can feel it pushing them back." The observer's voice echoed from above, cold and metallic. "You cannot escape. The Empire claims its property." The device pulsed violently, sending a wave of energy upward, startling the drones and agents. The girl's patterns spiraled, glowing fiercely, the walls vibrating with power. The driver grabbed her hand. "We go now." They crawled through the narrow opening, emerging into a back alley outside the city. Rain had begun to fall again, washing away the traces of their path. The girl gasped, patterns dimming slightly as relief mixed with exhaustion. The driver looked around, scanning for pursuers. "We made it, but they'll be back." She nodded, holding the device tightly. "I know, but we survived today." The city lights reflected off the wet streets, casting a surreal glow over them. The driver glanced at her, respect and awe in his eyes. "You're stronger than you realize, and this device chose well." The girl smiled faintly, patterns flickering like a heartbeat. "Then we move forward and prepare for what comes next." They disappeared into the shadows, the device humming softly, guiding them, protecting them. Above, drones searched the city, the observer calculating, frustrated and constrained. The girl whispered to the device, "We're not finished, but I know we can win." The driver nodded. Together. And as the rain fell heavier, washing the streets clean, they moved toward the unknown, ready to face whatever dangers the Empire would send next. The device pulsed, almost alive, almost sentient, promising guidance and protection, and the girl knew that the path ahead was only the beginning of a greater journey, one that would test courage, trust, and the bond between human and alien. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, but the streets were slick and empty, reflecting the neon glow of the city like mirrors. The girl clutched the device tightly, patterns flickering with each heartbeat, guiding them through hidden alleys and side streets. The driver stayed close, eyes scanning constantly, senses on high alert, every shadow a potential threat. "They're relentless," he said quietly. "They'll send more if they can't. Get the device." She nodded, sweat mixing with raindrops on her forehead. "I know, but I can feel a way forward. A safe place." The device pulsed softly, warmth radiating from it, as if acknowledging her words. Above them, drones hovered, scanning, their sensors piercing the night. The girl whispered, "They're still close, but they don't see the path I do." The driver smiled faintly. "Then lead the way." They moved quickly, turning through alleys that twisted unpredictably, the device humming like a second heartbeat. It guided them toward a section of the city abandoned years ago, forgotten and decaying. The buildings were tall and broken, glass shattered, walls crumbling, yet still strong enough to provide cover. "This place, it feels safe," the girl said cautiously, patterns flickering with uncertainty. The driver nodded. "Safe enough for now. We need to rest and plan." They entered a large building, the interior dark and dusty, shadows stretching like long fingers. The device pulsed in her hands, illuminating the room with faint, eerie light. The girl breathed deeply, exhaustion visible, yet determination still burning in her eyes. "I can feel them recalculating," she whispered. "The Empire. They're coming." The driver frowned. "Then we need more than this building. We need allies." The girl's patterns twisted, energy radiating faintly. "I think there's someone who can help. Someone they don't know about." The driver looked at her curious. "Who?" She shook her head, patterns dimming slightly. "I can't be sure, but the device is guiding me. I have to trust it." Suddenly, a noise echoed from the street below, low and metallic like heavy boots on wet pavement. The girl tensed, patterns flickering wildly. "They've found us. Partially." The driver grabbed a piece of broken metal, ready. "Then, we fight if we must." The hum of drones grew louder, scanning the building, searching for the source of the energy. The girl whispered, "Not yet. We hide." They crouched behind debris, the device pulsing, sending a protective field that distorted light. The drones scanned, their sensors unable to penetrate the energy shield. "Good," the girl said quietly, relief mixing with fear. "It's working." The driver glanced at her, impressed. "You're stronger than I imagined. The device chose the right person." She shook her head, patterns flickering softly. "No, it's not just me. It's both of us. And those who will help." From the shadows, a figure emerged, humanoid but distinctly alien, moving silently, watching them carefully. The girl gasped softly, recognition flashing in her eyes. You're the one the device guided me to." The figure nodded, voice soft and calm. "I've been waiting. The Empire doesn't know I exist." The driver stepped forward, eyes wary. "Then why help us?" The alien smiled faintly. "Because your fight is our fight. The device chose well, and it chooses those who can survive." The girl's patterns flared briefly, almost like a greeting, energy radiating toward the new ally. The observer's voice echoed from the city streets, metallic and frustrated. "Containment. Recalibration. Failure imminent," the girl whispered. "It knows, it's frustrated, but we can use that." The new ally moved closer, scanning the building. "We can set traps, confuse them, make them think the city itself resists." The driver smiled faintly. "Then we prepare. We strike when they least expect it." The girl nodded, holding the device tightly, patterns glowing softly. "I can feel its power, and then I can guide it. Together we can hold them off." Outside, drones hovered, but their patterns were chaotic, sensors confused, unable to pinpoint the exact location. The girl whispered, "The device is working with me, and now, with them." The alien nodded. "It's not just a tool, it's a living protector. It adapts, learns, chooses." The driver glanced at the girl, respect deepening. "Then we're ready. Whatever comes." The girl smiled faintly, patterns pulsing with quiet strength. "I know. We have to be ready, because the Empire will not stop." The device pulsed brighter, almost like a heartbeat in unison with hers. A living connection. The driver whispered, "Then we fight. For now. For survival. For freedom." The alien ally moved closer, voice calm and determined. "And we will. Together." The city around them slept, unaware of the brewing storm. But inside the abandoned building, the girl, the driver, and their new ally prepared. The device pulsed softly, energy flowing, patterns twisting, alive and sentient. And the girl knew for the first time she was not alone. Together they would face the Empire, uncover the secrets of the device, and change the rules of this war forever. Outside, the drones hesitated, sensors confused, the Empire's plans disrupted. The girl whispered to the device, "We're ready. Now guide us." And for the first time, the device seemed to smile, a pulse of light and warmth spreading through the room. The battle was coming. But now they had a chance. The abandoned building trembled slightly under the distant rumble of engines and drones. The girl's glowing patterns pulsed with intensity, lighting the room like a heartbeat of fire. The driver checked the windows, scanning the dark streets, every shadow a potential threat. "They're coming," he said quietly, voice steady but tense. "All of them. The Empire won't wait any longer." The girl nodded, gripping the device tightly, feeling its warmth and strength flow into her. Beside her, the alien ally moved silently, scanning, planning, every movement precise and calm. The hum of approaching drones grew louder, mechanical wings slicing through the night air. The girl whispered, "The device. It knows the path. It can guide us through this. We have to trust it completely." The driver glanced at her, admiration and concern in his eyes. "I trust you. And whatever this thing can do." The device pulsed rapidly, patterns spiraling like a storm of light, energy radiating outward, almost alive. Outside, the first wave of drones appeared, scanning, their sensors searching, calculating. The girl raised the device slightly, and a pulse of energy shot forward, momentarily freezing the drones. The alien ally nodded approvingly. Good. That slows them, but more will come, the girl whispered. I can feel a weakness in their coordination. If we act now, we can disrupt them completely. The driver adjusted a makeshift weapon, ready to defend. Then we act. Together, they moved to the main exit, the girl guiding the device's energy like a living map. Drones hesitated as the device pulsed, energy forming a protective shield around them. The first group of Empire agents entered the building, weapons raised. The girl activated a stronger pulse, energy waves shooting out, pushing them back violently. The driver moved with precision, disabling drones and agents with skill he never thought he had. The alien ally appeared behind enemies, moving like a shadow, silent and deadly. The building became a storm of light and motion, the device reacting to every threat instinctively. The girl whispered to it, patterns glowing fiercely. Guide us. Show me the way. We can end this now. The device pulsed in response, projecting a faint holographic map in the air, highlighting weak points. The girl moved with sudden clarity, leading the driver and ally through hidden corridors. Empire, forces struggled, sensors failing, unable to track them through shifting energy fields. The girl whispered, just a little further. The exit is close. They emerged into a side street dark and wet from the earlier rain. The Empire's main forces were waiting, vehicles lined up, drones hovering in the sky. The girl's patterns flared, energy rippling outward, forming a radiant barrier around them. The alien ally moved forward, using speed and agility to disable drones with precise strikes. The driver stood beside her, weapon ready, guarding her back. The girl whispered to the device, now, strike together. A pulse of pure energy erupted from the device, blasting drones and vehicles, scattering them like toys. The Empire agents froze, stunned by the sudden disruption, confused and disoriented. The girl ran forward, patterns glowing, energy forming into a protective wave around allies. The driver and alien ally followed, striking with coordination, moving like a single unstoppable force. The Empire's forces faltered, unable to anticipate their movements. The device pulsed violently, almost screaming, energy shooting into the sky, signaling a power no one had seen before. The girl whispered, we can win. Together. The Empire commander appeared, voice metallic and cold. You cannot escape. The Empire claims all. The girl stepped forward, patterns blazing, device thrumming with strength. Not anymore. We choose our own fate. The commander raised a weapon, but the device pulsed again, energy forming a shield, deflecting attacks. The alien ally struck from the side, disabling key instruments, while the driver created openings for escape. The commander's forces were in chaos, unable to regroup, drones falling from the sky, vehicles immobilized. The girl whispered, softly, patterns dimming slightly as the battle's energy subsided. It's over, for now. The device glowed warmly as if acknowledging her words, a calm energy filling the streets. The driver exhaled, exhausted but relieved. You did it. We did it. The alien ally smiled faintly. The Empire underestimated humans, and their allies underestimated hope. The girl held the device close, pattern slowly fading. It's not just the device. It's us, our courage, our trust, our choices. The city was quiet again, neon lights reflecting off wet streets, a calm after the storm. The Empire had retreated, defeated temporarily, their plans disrupted, their forces scattered. The girl whispered to the device, we survived. We made it. Together. The driver nodded. And now, we rebuild, prepare, and plan for what comes next. The alien ally looked at her, patterns glowing faintly. You are ready. More than ready. The device chose well. The girl smiled, exhaustion and relief mingling. Then we continue, together. The streets were silent, but the girl could feel the pulse of the device, alive, protective, guiding them forward. And in that moment she knew the path ahead would be dangerous, challenging, and unknown. But she was no longer afraid, for she had allies, courage, and a device that chose her. The Empire might rise again, shadows might return, but the girl, the driver, and their ally were ready. Together they had changed the rules, defied the Empire, and proved that even in a galaxy of darkness, courage, hope, and humanity could shine. And as the city lights reflected on wet asphalt, patterns of glowing energy, dancing softly, the girl whispered one last time, "We are free, and we will never stop fighting."